Champions League Borussia Dortmund vs Paris Saint-Germain prediction, team news, lineups preview. An already qualified Borussia Dortmund welcome a Paris Saint-Germain side still fighting for their right to enter the Champions League last 16 draw in Wednesday's mouth-watering Group F finale. While the hosts only require a point to confirm first place in the group, Luis Enrique's men will leave their qualification hopes up to chance with anything other than victory at the Westfalenstadion. Match preview. Since commencing this year's Champions League group of death with a disheartening 2-0 loss to their upcoming opponents at the Parc des Princes, Borussia Dortmund have outlined their European credentials and ensured a place in the knockout rounds with a third successive continental win on matchday 5. On the back of consecutive beatings of Newcastle United, Edin Terzic's men knocked down a few more walls of the San Siro fortress courtesy of a 3-1 beating of AC Milan, where Marco Reus began the goal rush before Jamie Bino Gittins and Karim Adeyemi also registered. Boasting a respectable 10 points from a possible 15 in the group phase thus far, Dortmund will be present in the last 16 draw no matter what transpires this week, although their 3-point lead over PSG leaves them at risk of being bumped down to second spot if they lose to Enrique's side this week. Recent Champions League feats at the Westfalenstadion suggests that the Dortmund contingent can already begin to plan their first-placed party, as they have kept 4 clean sheets in each of their last 4 home games in the tournament, an all-time club best, but December's domestic exploits have not made for positive reading. Since the start of the month, BVB have been held to a draw away to title-chasing Bayer Leverkusen, been dumped out of the DFB Pokal by Stuttgart and lost 3-2 at home to RB Leipzig in Saturday's Bundesliga contest, where a 15th-minute Mats Hummels red card was step 1 on the recipe for disaster. Coincidentally, a last-minute officiating call deemed disastrous for those of a Newcastle persuasion spared PSG's blushes against the Magpies 2 weeks ago, as the French champions were on the brink of defeat at the Parc des Princes owing to Alexander Isak's first-half effort. Many a chance came and went for PSG to restore parity thanks to their own wastefulness and a Nick Pope blinder, but with mere seconds remaining, Tino Livramento was adjudged to have handled the ball inside the box, allowing Kylian Mbappe to crash home a late leveler from the 12-yard mark. The incandescent Magpies faithful pointed out that the ball appeared to strike Livramento's thigh before hitting his elbow. But it was no use, as PSG remained in the driving seat for progression and will confirm a last 16 berth as well as a first-placed finish if they win on Wednesday evening. However, a draw would leave Les Parisians vulnerable to being caught by Newcastle if the Magpies sink AC Milan, and if the worst should occur and Enrique's men lose in Germany, they would need the other game in the group at St. James Park to end in a draw to cling on to second place. A 3-game losing run away from home in the Champions League will not lead to unbridled optimism within the Parisians' camp, and not since October 2020 have they recorded a clean sheet outside of the Parc des Princes in the competition. But they have never before lost 4 successive European games on the road. The Ligue 1 champions' domestic title charge got off to an underwhelming start, but a 2-1 beating of Nantes at the weekend represented their 8th top-flight win on the bounce. And only one of their previous 5 contests with Dortmund has ended with Les Parisians coming out on the losing side. Team news. Hummels' impending domestic ban means nothing in terms of Champions League football. But Dortmund have lost one experienced head to the rulebook for Wednesday's game, as Emre Can must serve a suspension for picking up 3 yellow cards in Group H. Terzic could therefore be left in a sticky midfield situation if Marcel Sabitzer fails to recover from a calf problem, as Felix Meka is also missing with a hip issue until 2024, but the Dortmund coach is hopeful that the Austrian will shake off the issue in time to cover for the band. Ken Marius Wolf also has a strong chance of returning from an ankle problem, which would be particularly timely as Thomas Meunier was not registered for Dortmund's UCL squad, but Julian Ryerson knee, Youssoufa Moukoko hamstring, Sebastian Haller knee and Julian Duranville thigh are all unavailable. Can was not the only player to pick up a milestone booking on matchday 5, as PSG winger Ousmane Dembele is also on the naughty step for an accumulation of cautions, offering Bradley Barcola hope of a starting role after he opened his Parisians account versus Nantes at the weekend. The beating of Les Canaris also saw teenage sensation Warren Zaïre-Emery play 30 minutes off the bench after recovering from an ankle sprain, which was initially expected to rule him out until 2024. But it remains to be seen if Enrique is prepared to risk him from the off this week. Nuno Mendes hamstring, Presnel Kimpembe Achilles, Fabian Ruiz shoulder, Keylor Navas back and Sergio Rico head trauma are all out of contention for the visitors. But no fresh concerns have reared their ugly heads from the win over Nantes. Borussia Dortmund possible starting lineup: Kobel, Sewell, Hummels, Schlotterbeck, Bensebaini, Sabitzer, Ozkan, Reyes, Brandt, Bino Gittens, Füllkrug. Paris Saint-Germain possible starting lineup: Donnarumma, Hakimi, Marquinhos, Skriniar, Hernandez, Lee, Ugarte, Vitinha, Barcola, Kolo Muani, Mbappe. We say, Borussia Dortmund 1-2 Paris Saint-Germain. Clean sheetless away from home in the Champions League for over 3 years, PSG will likely have to fight fire with fire once again if they are to keep their dreams of a first top-level European crown alive. But Enrique has the resources at his disposal to do so. While PSG could take a leaf out of Dortmund's defensive playbook in Group H, the hosts' recent domestic plight and plethora of absentees has us siding with Les Parisians to ensure a path to the last 16. With a first-placed finish to boot, thanks for your watching. Don't forget to click the subscribed button and hit the bell icon for more.